Good morning, nation. John here. We 5x5. Always a very important question here at Prepper Nation because we never know. At least I don't seem to ever know. There we go. Usual suspect. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Robin. Zemi, good morning. Thank y'all for the 5x5s. Hey, we pulled it off again. What is this? 2 days in a row. Thank y'all for being here this morning. As Robin was just saying, the usual suspects. Appreciate all of y'all being in here. Black Cat Worley Gig, you always got love. What's going on? Will Snobby Math, give Black Cat some love, please. Please. Very quickly, thank you to Nellis for the continued support of this channel. It's truly appreciated. And if you're new, hey son, consider subscribing or not subscribing or whatever. Um, even send hate mail. I don't check it, but send it anyway if that's what it is. Chaos Prepper, first in the house this morning. So congrats on that. And I want to say a special thank you to Desert Frog for mentioning this channel somewhere else. I saw that, and that's appreciated. Roll call. Who's up in here? Howard is here. USA Prepping is here. CNC. There's Desert Frog. Thank you very much for mentioning this channel elsewhere. Trout on Dry. These nuts is up in the house. Hopefully that's PG-13 enough. Steph L, good morning. Dirt Track, good morning. Thank you, moderators, by the way. Art Nanny, good morning. Tammy Duckworth, thank you for the continued support. Says much love and respect to my Beaverine family. And there's Forrest dropping the Pac-Man ghost as always. Tracy, good morning. Forrest, what happened to hold your applause? I'm here, hold your applause. Shady White is up in here. Good morning, brother. Hair God, Tina Williams, Slee Stack. And now I know what TV show that comes from, right? Michael G, good morning. Big German, how you doing? Big German's a name that's been here for a while. Chuck H, good morning. VR Lab Girl, ma'am, how are you? Max Havoc, um, Shells Bells, I like that name. Kevin Grip, John Connors, what's going on, everybody? So, let me explain this video this morning. I've had this idea. Alabama Whitman, welcome to the coffee club. This one's for you, brother. I've had this idea for several weeks. I wanted to switch things up a little bit, and I said, I'm going to do what's called a Friday free for all every Friday, because I've always maintained over here this is our platform. So every Friday, the poll is going to consist of the topics, and we're going to talk about the topics you folks vote on. And so I sit down and I did, the thumbnail art and stuff last night, late, I might add, because I wasn't home for a long time. I get up this morning, Dome Seeker, good morning, and Chewbacca. I get up this morning, and lo and behold, Warlord TV had an open forum last night. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the replay yet, but I'm like, well, here we go. Great minds think alike, I guess. So anyway, Rob, I'll be checking that out shortly. But you folks chose this morning the biggest SHTF that America faces, that we face right now in our country. And that's an easy one for me to do, but I can see where y'all would want to talk about it as well. For me, it's the one that's a foregone conclusion. Excuse me. So we could talk about all kinds of things, right? We got chaos going on, with, I would say, the food supply. We've got World War III, the brink of World War III. I would argue it's already started. We've got the reset. Bama Jen, here in a little while, we're going to be talking about the WHO and Biden, just so you know. I saw that comment earlier, but the one that is a foregone conclusion is the economy. For me, this is the economy because everything else, we could have an EMP. It's likely we're going to see this. It's likely we're going to see this. The only foregone conclusion is America is screwed financially. And we're going to go over some numbers here in a minute, but it's a tailspin, economically speaking. What's going on, Dynamite? What's up, Hutch? Katrink as well. Let's go over some numbers. So, Amelia, yeah, we're going to talk about Bill Gates, maybe, if that's what y'all want to do here in a bit. But somebody had said yesterday in chat 3M was laying off. I said I hadn't seen it, but that sucks. Several people confirmed it. 3M is cutting 2,900 jobs. confirmed. All right, and this is, look at all the companies that are laying off. These are just some of the bigger ones. There are plenty of others. Economic meltdown. Yeah, Michael G. We're already in progress, I think. FedEx laying off. These are big companies to be laying off, by the way. Disney did it to themselves, but whatever. Hasbro. Um, who else have we got? We've got various social media platforms. We've got IBM. We've got Google. Google is laying off. Amazon is laying off in 2023. Capital One, huge bank, laying off. Microsoft laying off. eBay, kind of a smaller but beloved company here, son. As somebody that collects retro stuff and games and stuff, that's the place to go. Boeing laying off. And I need to mention this as well. Hopefully he doesn't get laid off, Bama Jim. Truly. Arcade One Up that makes the replica arcades. This is the only way I'm affording the arcade experience. I've got a couple of these. They're laying off. They started out at $299, and I said, "Hey, I can do this." Now they're up to $599 because of the cost of everything, and they're not selling them. And I can't say that I blame people for not buying them. They're laying off. So we have a serious problem in this country. All right. $31.5 trillion in debt. That's a huge number. All right. America spends on the average year $1 trillion more than it takes in tax revenue. So not only are we not doing anything about the $31.5 trillion in debt, we're actually adding roughly a trillion every year. That's the pace we're on right now. And we're starting to see the economic fallout. Some of it's due to the pandemic, or not really the pandemic, but the unnecessary lockdowns and mandates that they put into place. But as jobs are lost, guess what drops? The tax revenue, right? Because more people are going to become dependent on the government. They're going to need help. They're going to need financial assistance and social welfare programs. That's less people paying in to the government. And our issue is the government hasn't reined in spending. They continue to spend the same amount, but now they're getting paid less and less. Okay. So to break it down on a smaller scale, time, thank y'all. Do we have any fans of the Missouri Tigers in the house? Anybody in Missouri, son? There we go. That's on backwards. It'll work. It'll work. Missouri. There we go. So everybody's saying nope. Well, we got one of them out there. They sent me the tie at least. So they're not changing the way they do things. To break this down on a very small scale level, okay, let's say your household is spending $1,000 a month, and you're only bringing in $500 or $600 a month. It's something, and you're living on credit. The problem is you go so far into credit and you can't afford to pay it off anymore. Like, it becomes unmanageable. That's where the United States is at. There are only three ways out of this at this point, folks. Number one, we stop spending money we don't have. This depends on the swamp and the swamp creatures to start reining money in, the spending in. Stop spending money. Stop sending money to other countries. Stop funding wars, this kind of thing. Is that going to happen? Probably not. If they haven't learned by now, they're probably never going to learn. Number two, increase taxes on everything. Biden is lying through his falsies. I guess he wears falsies. If he's over there saying, you're not going to pay 1 cent more, well, there's no other way, Joe. There's no other way. If Congress is not going to stop spending money, the only way that you're going to catch up, not even talking about paying any of the debt off. I'm saying just to break even every year, you're going to have to raise taxes on people that are already being taxed to death. We're being taxed illegally. We have been for a while. The third option is financial collapse. And I think that's we're going to see a mixture of taxes out of panic. Oh, it's not going to go up 1 red cent. And then you're going to see additional stuff taken out of paychecks and stuff. And then finally, financial collapse, full blown. I understand random jail that we're kind of in financial collapse now, but I'm talking about it's been kind of a slow burn up to this point, but it's inevitable. If we don't rein spending in, it's falling off of a cliff and very soon. Um, Here's some more numbers. All right. Great reset does play into it, walk by faith to a degree. And before I go over these numbers, I already know these messages and comments are coming. They always do. I had some yesterday. Stop picking on illegal aliens. Illegal aliens are people. I'm not dehumanizing anybody. All right. Calling a spade over here. 51%. These numbers come from the government. Google it. 51% of illegals that enter into this country immediately go onto some sort of social welfare program. So not only are we letting these people in illegally and turning a blind eye to it, we're doing so knowing that 51% day one, they're collecting something. Free insurance, maybe. Food stamps, maybe. Something. All right. All I'm saying is we have a process that is legal to come here for a reason because we want you to come here. We want you. Illegals, if you're not a drug or drug dealer or trafficker, we want you, but come here legally because the process is in place so they can make sure that you can live here and afford it and you have jobs lined up, or job opportunities, and you're not immediately going to be a burden on the tax system. And then on the flip side of the coin, 49% next week. No, here's the thing, Don, 49% are coming in and they're taking jobs away from citizens. They're taking jobs away from veterans, for example. There's a reason that so many veterans are on the streets, okay? Number one, they're not receiving the support that they need when they get back home. Number two, the job opportunities just aren't there because they're being sucked up by illegal aliens. And I said what I said. You're stealing from people. When you come here illegally, I don't care how you slice it, you are stealing from people. You're either stealing an income and a livelihood from somebody, or you are stealing from the tax revenue that people who are already working are paying in. You're a thief. If you come here illegally, I don't care how many kids you got in tow, you're a thief and you're stealing from the American taxpayer. And it is what it is. We cannot sustain these numbers. We can't do it. We cannot sustain. It's estimated now, folks. Here's the thing with illegal immigration. The numbers are like this. They're everywhere. You'll have the governor of Texas, for example, he'll throw out a random number or what he believes is correct. Biden administration, they'll throw out a random number. The number that everybody seems to be kind of sort of okay with, they don't dispute this too much, is 15.5 million illegals in the United States. I would say that's a very low number. I think we have a lot more here than that. But let's just say 15.5 million illegals. Let's just say we have that many for the sake of argument right now here in the United States. That's 15.5 million people that are sucking the tax system dry or taking jobs away from people. That's what? 7 and 9. Where you at, Wilson? I be math. 7.75 million Americans who can't find a job because of illegal immigration, roughly. And almost 8 million that are immediately on welfare. You know what I'm saying? We can't sustain that. We can't sustain that because getting back to it, we can't stop spending money recklessly. Congress is not doing a good job. I don't care if it's a Democrat, I don't care if it's a Republican, they all spend money. They're wasting money. Democrats are wasting money on people invading this country. Republicans waste money on endless wars. That's what it is. All right. And it's happened for so long that it's unrecoverable at this point. So I think that's the biggest SHTF we face. I'm not sitting here saying we won't see an EMP. I'm not sitting here saying we won't see boots on the ground or we won't see all kinds of chaos here. But that's the one that's unavoidable. We're already in it. There's no getting out of it at this point. So just understand that. So what can you do about it? You know, A taxation's theft, well, you can start dumping tea in a harbor somewhere and grab muskets if you want to. I'm not encouraging anything illegal here, son, but, I can't do that here on YouTube. But, you can stock your pantries. If you're not already doing this, you can stock your pantries, not hoarding. You don't wanna be out here hoarding, son. Stock your pantries with purpose. Understand what you're buying, have a purpose for it. Don't just start hoarding over in the corner like some of these other channels tell you. Attempt a garden, all right? Attempt a garden. We fail, mainly me, at the gardening thing a lot, but we do get some stuff to grow, mainly my wife, but we are gardening. Um, Preserve food. Figure out how to can food. It's really not as hard as I thought it was. But this can mean dehydrating stuff. This can mean, hey, you learn how to fish, or you go out here and you get a buck and you figure out how to do the whole process of skinning it and everything and harvesting the meat and dehydrating it, freeze it, whatever. Repurpose stuff. Start repurposing stuff right now if you haven't already. This is going to save you money. I love items, to be honest with you, that are multi-purpose. I'm a sucker for a 5-gallon bucket for this reason. But, salts, yeah, absolutely, salts and water. I mean, there are all kinds of stuff hitting the comments now, that are fantastic. Cut cost on stuff. Um, hey, John, what denomination that's an excellent question. What denomination would you have on hand when taking your money out of the bank? Well, there ain't a whole lot to take out, first and foremost, but honestly, smaller bills. I'm thinking 5, 10s, and 20s. 20s is probably going to be the standard because you're going to get into a situation if you've got stacks of $100 bills where if you need to buy something and you're buying it off of a third party, another individual or something, they may not offer change, they may not have change, and you may overpay. Not saying that $100 of fiat's gonna be worth anything at that point, but the principle of it, you don't wanna pay $100 for 4 cans of kidney beans, for example, so I would go with the low ball stuff. Finally, I just wanna say clearing debt and avoiding debt, and I know, guys, I know that's hard to do right now. A lot of people are living on debt, quite frankly. They don't see a way around it. But try to find a way around it. Try to condition your spending habits in such a way that if you can't afford it immediately, you either need to save the money for it or second guess the purchase in the first place. Um, Follow the backup channel. You know that I'm into retro gaming. I haven't bought retro games in so long, I couldn't even tell you when because I've been focused solely on prepping and making sure that we're covered on that. It's more important. I love the retro stuff. I love the '80s stuff, but feeding family is more important, okay? And I just wanna throw this in for the sake of argument. The prep of the week for me, for us here, um, and anybody can afford this, guys. Anybody watching this can afford heirloom seeds. Go ahead and get seeds now. They're plentiful, stores got them stocked up, they're not expensive whatsoever. I think seeds are gonna be there in a few months, but I don't know you may run into an issue of finding heirloom seeds, which just means they're non-GMO. So focus on that this weekend. If you've got a quarter or a dollar or something to burn, grab some seeds, you know? Wilson IB Math, wow, thank you very much. Keep fighting the good fight, son. I'm making up for lost time. We fight together over here. It's us against the world. It feels like that sometimes. It's us against the world. Um, maybe that's in my own head though. Raven P, thank you for the support. 4 months. Appreciate all you do. Stack it to the rafters, yes. And also, as Militant always said this yesterday, grow it, grow it, grow it. Start that process. Um, so there you go. That's the biggest one that we face. Of course, there are tons of others, and we're going to talk about another one now. Bama Jen had brought this up way early in chat, and it needs to be discussed. All right, this is one of those what if type things. Um, Misty, you can get them. There are places online that sell them, but honestly, we do Rule King. I mean, they got them at Walmart and stuff, but we like to spend the money on that stuff at Rural King and support them. Your tractor companies and things like that, your farm stores, your feed stores, they're all gonna have it. I mean, you see them right now, maybe even in I don't know, you might see the seeds and stuff in Dollar General and stuff, small variety. Just look for heirloom seeds, alright, because those are the bomb compared to the other ones. Um, Biden and this intel is linked down below. There's a link below the video for this. He's partnering with the World Health Organization. And hopefully by saying that I don't get the video flagged, but whatever. They flag a couple of weeks. They don't pay me for it. I don't really care. The WHO. And he's going into an agreement. He's signing a treaty with them as if they're a country or something. He's going into an agreement with the WHO, the WHO, that would allow them to dictate policies to Americans during a pandemic, a future pandemic. So for thank you for bringing that up, Bama Jen, because there may be people out there that don't know about this because they're communists, Randy. You can come on here and state facts, and if it goes outside of their narrative, um, you don't really catch a strike for it. They just pull the monetization. They say no commercials for you in the ads or whatever, and then they drop 20 ads, liberal ads in the video, whatever. It's how they do things. I'm not going to complain about it because, I'm over here on YouTube, so I know it's coming. Dynamite says he can sign anything he wants. It has to be approved by Congress. He forgot the memo on that, like he forgets many things. He thinks he can just sign this thing into law. And so his reasoning or his administration's reasoning is that the COVID-19 pandemic was chaotic. And there was a lot of, I guess there were people just stumbling around. They didn't handle it well. There you go. Captain Obvious. They didn't handle it well. So he's saying, future pandemics, let's have the WHO take over. And the WHO knows what they're doing. So they're going to dictate to people how it's going to be run here in the United States. And sadly, Dynamite, a lot of Americans are going to go along with this. They really are. I mean, your branch COVIDians, they're already on board, but a lot of people they're gonna trust what they hear from the WHO. This can lead to mandates to work. You gotta have this amount of shots. You got to get your little card here, and like you're in kindergarten, get so many stickers or something, or the Sonic Drink Club. Or you don't come to work. This can mean passports to limit movement because that's what passports were all about, not keeping people safe, folks. Um, if you needed a passport to get into a restaurant and then everybody's something, it's not about keeping people safe. It's about limiting movement and punishing certain people that are not on board and rewarding certain people that were on board. That's what it was always about. But here's the big one, and I hope you're still listening, Dynamite. This can lead to forced inoculation. So if the WHO at some point, once they get control illegally and they decide, hey, everybody needs to take this thing, whether they want it or not, this brings up a serious issue here in the United States because they could make a case that it's legal because Biden told them it was legal. And of course it would go through the court process and stuff, but this takes a year or two. You know, to get to the Supreme Court, you don't just walk into the Supreme Court. So for a while, you would have a situation potentially where the WHO is forcing people or trying to force people to get this thing. So it's not a good look. And getting into a what if, and I'm not saying this is what's happening, but what if this is happening? Does this mean the C-19 was only round one? Was it some people's in chat that say this is a trial run? I've heard people say the C-19 was a trial run. The H5N1 is a concern right now. They've identified it's called the avian bird flu, H5N1. And I'm starting to see footnotes in mainstream media, and you can always tell when mainstream media has a narrative that they're going to push on people. It always starts at the bottom and it starts climbing a ladder like Mario does on Donkey Kong, son, climbing the ladder a little bit at a time until it's right in front of people's face. And the H5N1 avian bird flu is starting to do that in mainstream media. They just reported yesterday, yeah, priming us. That's a great way of putting it, Amelia. The first human fatality in Cambodia yesterday. So now everybody's on alert. They're saying, "Oh my God, this is a huge deal. This could lead to another pandemic." I've heard that said in a couple of news articles. Um, so I don't know. Y'all let me know. Is Biden trying to hand our rights off to the WHO prior to another incoming pandemic? I know that's kind of a stretch and that's kind of tinfoil stuff, but again, with the coincidences, because it checks all the boxes, right? It gives WHO and health officials, or in the fantasy land Joe lives in at least, it gives the WHO total control over our lives, during a time of a pandemic. It crashes the economy outright. Gotta crash the economy so you can reset it digitally and it's gonna crash anyway. The bankers know this. They know it's crashing. They just need something to blame it on, and I think maybe they were gonna blame it, solely on Russia, and I think maybe by now they thought this conflict was gonna be red hot, 20 countries involved, and they could point and say, "World War III did this." But Putin hasn't taken the bait fully, and so now maybe they need something else to blame this collapse on, and it also terrorizes the food chain. When you get right down to it, the bird flu is going to have dramatic effects on the food chain. So it checks a lot of the boxes, um, of Agenda 30 anyway, and it kind of this is what bothers me about Joe Biden, and I understand he's probably working for more important people, right? He seems to wanna take Americans' constitutional rights and just hand them off to somebody else, you know? We're gonna do the North American Union and your citizens' rights. No, son, we're gonna hand it over here to the new union because it's more convenient, it's safer, and, we'll have some overlord of all of North America dictating to you now. Well, the Constitution says no. The Constitution I didn't I've read the Constitution. I didn't read anything about a North American Union. And now he's trying to take everybody's rights and hand it off to the World Health Organization, um, during a time of pandemic, but let's call a spade here. They can cause a pandemic anytime they want to. They've got the laboratories already set up for this. They can execute this anytime they want to, and then try to hand your rights over to health professionals because, again, they did such a great job the first time around. It doesn't matter if I got you, Cloyo says, "I will not comply." They don't care. If they get the rights, and they believe it's legal, they believe legally they can go door to door and force that inoculation on you. Um, I mean, it is what it is. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think they're gonna be able to do that peacefully in many cases, but, they seem to think they will. Well, Pure Blood Alpha says we need to organize if we want our country. I agree. The issue is if you're gonna organize en masse, you need social media to do it. And there's a reason that people are getting censored on social media. As I said earlier, it's the Beaverines against the world over here. I mean, straight up. Um, sometimes I'll get slapped on the hand for something I say over here. Sometimes it's because there are too many people in chat exchanging ideas. Um, they don't want people to organize, and this is why. Kevin Grit, never find enough victims to come door to door. Nah, they may try to starve you out. They'll try anything. Yeah. The carrot first and then the stick. But the thing is, Kevin, I think a lot of people would just break down and comply. This seems to be the mentality of I don't know. I'm just pulling a number out of the air. 75% of Americans. This seems to be the mentality. Well, the government hasn't given me a choice, so I guess I need to do it. I need to just go ahead and break down and do it. I don't wanna lose my job. I don't wanna lose my doctor. I don't wanna lose my food stamps. I guess I need to break down and do this. And they would use everything that they have to whittle down the holdouts to a small number, and then they would come door to door. Now whether or not they have enough people willing to try that, I don't know, you know? I really don't, brother. Let's just give up and roll over, pure blood. That's again, I don't know if that's an accurate number, but it's a lot of people. I'm gonna say 75% of people, yeah, just give up and roll over. That seems to be, I mean, again, getting back to it, if huge word, if, because I don't know for sure, the C-19 pandemic was a trial run, this could have been, um, these elites looking and saying, "How many people will roll over? What kind of methods worked? What kind of mandates worked?" This sort of thing. How did we get people to comply? The ones that said they would never do it and then they did it. How did we push them into making that decision? Um, and again, I know that sounds like rabbit hole stuff, and maybe it is, but these elites think in this way. And if you want to know what's coming, you have to go there, and you have to try and think the way they think. Rolling over is not an option, Anthony says. It's not for me personally, but again, I can't speak for everybody in chat. There you go. I mean, I hate to hear you've been through all the trouble, Silverback, but that's an excellent comment. Silverback says, "I'm on my 3rd job since the beginning of the C-19 lockdowns. I will find another one if I have to." And there it is. There's always these people will push you into a corner and they will make you think that you don't have any other choice, but there's always choices. There are always options. Um, and God, you would think the constitutional rights that you already have would be the option, but for a lot of people, it's not. Some of these people that comply, they don't even want the United States anymore, and they got no problem telling you that. Capitalists are evil. We need something better. And if I have to submit and take a knee, and some people are they were getting the vax cards tattooed on them like a symbol that they've done something great. These are the people that will do anything that they're told to do, and they'll do it, especially if they're getting $800 a month in guaranteed income. These are the kind of people that are a threat, honestly. That kind of groupthink. Freaks. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Kelly. Yeah, I get it. Briar Patch, that is just stupid, but seriously, Google it. You would be surprised, or they were putting, I saw a couple that got Pfizer tattooed on them, and it's meant to troll people that didn't get the thing, I guess, or whatever. But if they're gonna go that route, they're gonna go that far with it. The government already owns them. I mean, they're owned at that point. McBean Scottish Fitness has an important stream coming up at some point. I saw the email. I haven't had a chance to email back, brother. If I'm at home, yeah, I would love to join you for a little while. Ark Nanny says, Look what happened in Australia last time, just saying." So it would vary country to country. I would hope so anyway. Having so many firearms here in the United States. Big T, what's up? But it varies country to country. So the Chinese, for example, hey, they didn't have a choice. You know, they wake up in the morning, they open the door, and the door don't work because it's been nailed shut and a piece of plywood's been nailed over it. That's how they were quarantining people. In other situations like here, it was kind of shaming people. Hey, you're going to lose your job. You're going to do this. Australia got pretty draconian on their mandates and stuff, and they'll do it again. They ain't worried about it. They'll do it again. If that was a trial run, it'll be worse next time. Jeremy, that could also be the prep for the week. Ammo, 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 ammo. But I think people are probably stacking that right now. Hopefully, people are stacking ammo right now. Some people, occasionally, the comment will pop up and they'll say it's too expensive to buy right now. It's not going down. You know, we're in the opening stages of World War III. Ammo's not going down right now. It's cheap as you're going to see it for a while. So you might as well stack it. Yeah, camps. Michael G says camps. I mean, that's always an option. I've heard microchips, Glenwad. Um, I think with the trial run, I saw a lot of stories about the fake cards and stuff like that. So I think that they would make the argument we need to go digital. It would either be on your phone or a microchip the second time around. Don't buy ammo and credit cards. Rock, great comment. There are always people that says it doesn't matter. You're on camera anyway. Um, but then you have that crowd that pays with cash, and I do try and pay with cash in store if that's an option when it comes to anything prepping related, but specifically ammo. Um, Prepper Trucking says we need a way to freely communicate. Good luck with that with people and make plans for stands. That's getting back into the social media thing. I mean, you can go door to door, like the Boy Scouts try and sell cookies and stuff, but that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna organize enough people. You need social media. And social media, these companies know this. There's a reason that the government got caught, contacting Twitter and other social media like Facebook saying, "Hey, we need this account taken down. We need this one censored." They got caught doing this. And they don't even try and deny it. But they're doing this because certain communities, I'm not saying like we have a huge community, but certain communities were getting too big and there was too much truth being spread, especially during the C-19. And they said, "Hey, man, you got to silence this. You got to shut it down." Daniel says, "Just order them." You talking about ammo? Because a lot of people don't like to do that. There's going to be a paper trail in that instance. Of course, some people have to present ID depending on where they live. Hairspray and a Bic lighter for close up. Nobody. So we've never deployed that on anybody, but as teenagers, yeah, we used to have a little bit of fun. We didn't use Bic lighters. We used aim flames because we're afraid of burning our hands off. Not saying we were the brightest back then either. Just seeing what we catch on fire. Yard sales. Um, 1 second after. Yard sales are great to pick up a lot of stuff. I don't know how much ammo you're gonna find at yard sales because and this is just my way of thinking, if people have stacked ammo, they're probably not gonna get rid of it anytime soon. Now you may luck out and find a lot of other things at yard sales. Who knows? Maybe you roll up on a stash of ammo at a yard sale. Somebody'd have to be nuts to be selling it though. Yeah, homemade flamethrowers outlaw. Yeah, that's what it amounts to. Aquanet. Woo! Aquanet. That's some old stuff, Amelia. You throwing your age out there a little bit. I get do they say I don't even know if they still make it. I know it used to be the rage, though. Wasp, spray as well, yeah. A couple of Aquanets in there. Woo. Mario Drone Pirate is back. God 100% family and guns. There you go. Thank you very much for that. Um, and some people some channels that they'll say, "Hey, I try not to talk about politics and religion on my channel," and I'm like, to each their own, but over here, I try not to fence ride. You know what I'm saying? I try not to. Maybe I shouldn't be this way, but I try not to fence ride in order to have a larger community. If it's on my mind and it's on my heart, I say it, son. And sometimes this runs people off. So I guess it's on me. WD-40 and the big WD-40 is too expensive right now. Hairspray is cheaper. Yeah, that's it. Wilson IB Math. Our little space, prepper nation in the world, it's just fine. I ain't trying to get rich or famous here on YouTube. I got no ambitions of hitting 1,000,000 subscribers or anything like that. I just enjoy, getting on here and chatting back and forth. I do kinda wanna mix it up again, like on Fridays, we'll do a free for all. I got a couple of other ideas, but I better not mention them in case Rob drops them on me the night before. Warlord TV here on YouTube, by the way, awesome channel. He said, "Yeah, John's probably playing video games with Chewbacca." I wish last night. I was busy, brother. Um, yeah, the dollar store sells Aquanet, Sergeant Mike, a lot cheaper than WD-40. Yes, the 80s, Amelia. Yeah, I'll probably drop a video on the backup channel this weekend at some point. That is linked down below. It's called The Bunker, in case y'all are interested, folks. Thank you for being here, Triple T Tony. And I get these, I get these comments and I try and respect everybody's views. Not everybody's going to agree with the stuff I'm saying over here. And that's okay. I don't expect everybody in chat to agree with each other either, but just be respectful about it. I try and, be as respectful as I can. Um, Now, I mean, if somebody comes in here and they're just trolling and they're like, Hillary Clinton's the best president we ever had and stuff, and they're cursing and stuff. You probably get airlocked at that point, but we respect all opinions here. Dynamite, I remember the 80s, great time to be alive. I thought you were like 20 something, man. I'm kidding. Yeah, it was a great time. Um, I was gonna save this topic until next week, and we'll probably still do it, Amelia, but since you're bringing it up anyway, prepping in general takes a certain passion with logic. We won't win over the masses. I saw a news article the other day, and I'm trying to remember if it was 11 or 12% of Americans now identify as preppers, as doomsday preppers. And when I saw that, I'll try and find the article and do a video on it or something. But when I saw this, I said, well, the number's probably higher than that because some people probably just aren't open about it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's probably still a pretty low number, which is sad. Even if it's 20%, which I think is kind of a high number, that's 80% of people that are depending on the government to take care of them and pretending that everything's just gonna keep humming along without a hitch for the rest of their lives. And I saw that number and I said, "Man, a lot of people gonna die." I mean, straight up. It's not a laughing matter, but it's kind of like everything that's happened since 2018, you're still not prepping, you're not gonna get it at this point, and you just we're talking about the same government that can't take care of itself financially. They ain't gonna take care of you long term. Question, Tracy, am I supposed to be reading a book or watching a movie? Whatever you wanna do. If you're talking about the coffee club, it's The Edge of Alaska. We're finishing that show up, this week. It's episode 7 and 8. The Edge of Alaska is what we're gonna be chatting about. But other than that, hey, I prefer books to movies, but whatever. Well, T. Ross, it's because most people don't know what's really going on because it's the mainstream news. The real news is on TikTok. And I feel bad for those people to a degree because, yeah, the mainstream media is fleecing them completely. But it's also their own fault, because the information is out there. And if people can't turn off CNN or Fox for 5 minutes and seek out the truth, it's not really our responsibility to start mailing letters to home saying this is going on, dropping leaflets out of the F-15s if any of y'all bought one of those since Joe threatened with them. It's not our I don't mind helping people, but it's really not on us to go door to door and say, "Hey, you're watching propaganda. Hey, you're watching propaganda." At some point, something upstairs for these people gotta click, and they gotta realize they're being lied to. You know, you're on what now? Shot 6 or 7, and you're still wearing a mask, not because you have a compromised immune system, 'cause you're scared to death, okay? So, at some point, that light switch has to flick, and you have to say, "Wait a minute. I think I'm being lied to here, son. I'm in worse health than I was when I started taking these things. Something's up here. I feel like I got lied to." And then you have to start searching out the truth, that these people gotta take some responsibility. The government, they shouldn't depend on the government to feed them and house them and give them all the proper information, live a little. Live a little, do a little bit on your own. Mark Wilson, I own a F-22, so I'm good. Well, the F-15 owners, y'all done, son. F-22 eat it up. Unless Biden takes it from you to send to Ukraine. That's always a possibility. Arc Nanny, yeah, we're finishing it up. Arc Nanny says kinda having trouble getting into the edge of Alaska. As I was saying in the private chat the other morning, I like the history behind the town. I'm intrigued with the history and the way of life, but it they started to drop a whole lot of reality TV stuff in there, so I'm kinda turned off by that. But again, we're finishing it this week, and then I think they wanted a movie next. So we'll be voting on a movie uh, to do next week. G Dogs, all of the above. We're living in wild times and we are built for this time. We've got this. Yes. So, one of the issues our country has in particular is people don't live the same way they did during the Great Depression, for example, the last real financial collapse. People didn't need to be told, "Hey, you need to start a garden," because they were already doing that. "Hey, you need to can," because they were already doing that. They were already very smart when it came to full-blown homesteading, because to them, it wasn't homesteading, it was everyday life. And convenience is awesome, but that's led our country to a point where most people either don't do it or they even laugh at the idea. "I'm not living like that." And those people are in serious, serious trouble. The town's name, McCarthy, Alaska. I'm sorry to hear that, Outlaw Farms. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, again, Australian woman, roughly 10%. I think the news article was like 10 or 12% admit that they're prepping, because the article had popped up and said there was an increase in doomsday prepping since the beginning of the pandemic. So the number was lower prior to that, but again, I mean, I think more people are probably doing it. They probably got asked that question. They're like, "No, what's prepping?" And, they got a bunker in the backyard or something. But we'll never know the number for sure, but it's a low percentage, I can promise you. Laura, imagine how many are out there just like us that aren't even on social media. Exactly. I bet high numbers, and they don't want to be messed with, and they probably won't be messed with, at least not by normies. Now, if the government shows up or the WHO shows up with the police escort for that forced inoculation, who knows? You know, hey, backwoods, we got something we need to give to you in your left arm, and we heard you have a wood stub over here, son. Greta's out in the van and she's pissed. Jake, welcome to the coffee club. Thank you very much. I'm prepping, said no prepper ever. That's not true, uh, MacGyver. There are some people here in the chat that will, we were talking about cover stories one day when you're shopping, when you're buying prepping stuff, and a lot of people have cover stories. I mean, they just do. Mine is it's not necessarily a lie. Oh, I love to camp. I do love to camp, but I'm not necessarily buying this for that camping trip. But some people will tell you straight up in chat. No, I just tell them, none of their business or I'm prepping. So what? I mean, they're very open about it. Um, Red Dog, 100%, I don't know. Um, I've caught 2, but they've been roughly a year apart, and the 2 that I caught, I really wasn't saying anything negative, on the live stream. There's nothing that I really should have caught them for, um, so I don't know. I will say a lot of times, and the replay crowd can attest to this. A lot of times you have to wait 2, 3, even longer, 4 hours for the live chat replay to kick in. And so what happens is I think Google goes in and they if they're not in here now watching the chat, they go back through and they go through line by line because I'll watch the replay and I'll notice sometimes chat comments will be removed and they'll be removed. It'll say by YouTube moderator, meaning not somebody here. So they do go through line by line to make sure y'all are being good citizens here on YouTube. But does that lead to strikes and stuff? I don't. A lot of times they're vague about it. They'll say, misinformation or um, offensive content, something like that. And they don't really say much more. You just wake up one morning and it is what it is, and you're locked out of the channel for a week. A strike is 1 week. If you catch 2 back to back, essentially it's 2 weeks. And it is what it is. We got a backup channel for a reason. Again, it's called the bunker. It's linked down below. I was just telling them yesterday. I said, if we catch a strike here, the next morning we're live streaming on the backup channel. And then I got a backup to the backup. There's also a Rumble channel. Tim Johnson, welcome to the coffee club and thank you very much. Um, yeah, the dude, they're probably watching you right now. You probably have a sedan parked out in front of your house. Somebody's watching you. But but to a degree, it's my fault, guys. I'll close with this. To a degree, it is my fault because I know what YouTube wants. I know what Google wants from content creators. They want large crowds like we draw in the mornings, but they want you talking about happy things. They want you talking about rainbowish things. They want people over here that are completely on board with the wokeness. And if you're willing to do that, or if you fence ride and you don't get into politics and you don't get into religion, they seem to feature your channel. You know what I'm saying? On the home screen a whole lot. They put your channel up here for the world to see. And then if you have opinions on anything, in the basement you go, son. You go down to the basement and they also want people on here that are working with multiple companies and showing all kinds of equipment off and it's another form of advertising for them. It's good for business. And I understand that part, but I'm not a salesman. I ain't on here trying to sell nothing, man. Beyond the battle box stuff. And I love the battle box company, but if they emailed tomorrow and said, "Hey, we're not working together anymore," I'd be like, "It's cool, man. No hard feelings." So I know what they want. They want the corporate type, they want the unshaven face, they want you always smiling, they want you to uplift Joe Biden. And I'm over here like FJB, son, and everybody that voted for him. So it is what it is, and I know this coming in, so I really can't complain about it. I signed up for it when I signed up for YouTube. Um, so if you're on the list because of Prepper Nation, I would like to apologize to you in advance. Um, Southern Bear, has an awesome theory on what's happening over in Ukraine and all this stuff and how they're setting a false flag up. He needs to tell y'all about that sometime. They don't, Billy Rose. YouTube does not hassle the fear porn sites. They really don't. Not the ones that are selling lots of stuff and helping YouTube make money. Uh, so maybe if I just start doing that, they'll leave me alone. But I'm not gonna start doing that. It is what it is. God bless y'all. If you're on the backup channel, again, it's called The Bunker. It's linked down below. You're probably gonna see a video hit sometime this weekend. Beyond that, I'll talk to the rest of y'all Monday morning. God bless.